What's up YouTube, Demi here with another build guide. This is the Lightning Trap Saboteur. Crit, I'm using Tinkerskin for maximum trap recovery speed, so basically there's no cooldown when it comes to throwing traps. You see how fast this cooldown is? That's the main drawback of trappers, you have to wait for your traps to regen. This build doesn't have that problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick map clear while we talk about it. But like, this character was designed to be a starter type build. You start with Lightning Trap very early on, and you just kind of use it forever. It's also the first Saboteur I've ever played, but like, I really enjoy this character. It's really fun for mapping, and it's like fairly budget friendly to get started. You can scale it incredibly well the more you dump into it, and because of all the trap cooldown stuff we have, our clear speed is very good for like your average trapper. You don't have to worry about much. I just like the way Lightning Trap feels. Just kind of shield charge, proc your fortify, throw some traps, run away, everything's dead. Thanks to all of our stuff from Saboteur, all of our traps trigger at the same time, just unleashing this volley of death through the pack, and they all pierce, and it's just a fun build. It's a little bit squishy, but I mean, that I think can be mitigated. I went pretty hard on damage, just because like, I was doing T15 plus maps with this. Like, this is a T15 map. I've done Guardians with this build. It's just rather slow because you don't have the best single target. But I think you could swap to like some other type of trap, like maybe ball lightning traps, just to do huge single target. I don't know. We scale trap damage, lightning damage, spell damage, crit multi, and things like projectile damage. So you'd want to use a projectile trap type thing. I don't know if I want to do this breach. I guess we'll do it just to show you guys what it looks like. Oh god. That hurts. Yeah, as you can see, it's a little squishy in situations like that, but I'm also not using my decoy totem, which I probably should be. Even with all that crap coming at me, I still survive, so I think we're alright. But yeah, Tinkerskin offers a lot of interesting options. It gives you a bunch of trap recovery, which is awesome, cooldown recovery, but it also gives you like energy shield and life gain whenever your traps are triggered, so it's like a passive healing type thing. You also get frenzies and phasing, which is good. But yeah, for boss fights, you just drop your decoy totem. The bosses just like, they have no idea what to do when there's a totem on the ground, so you just let them attack the totem. If they have an area damage skill, you just don't stand next to them. And there you go. Easy enough, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the skill tree. You are Saboteur. Nothing in this guide changed at all from 3.0 to 3.1, by the way. It's the same skill tree. But your most important ones to get first, you go for Bomb Specialist and then Chain Reaction. This gives you, when your traps trigger, your nearby traps also trigger. So if I'm mapping and I throw all of those traps, it's 11 traps, right? And an enemy walks into one of them. All of them triggered, unleashing just a ridiculous amount of death, and it's great. That's the most important one. So this is cruel, this is normal, this is cruel. Once you get your cruel ascendancy, you can cruise from there on. After that, merciless, you're going to want to pick up Explosive Expert for the 10% elemental penetration. And then Uberlab is really kind of whatever. You get some LE damage and some blind on hit stuff. Blind means they just have to, they just can't hit you as easily with your evasion rating, which is pretty good. But it's not super important, so you mostly just need cruel. After that, it's whatever. Skill tree wise, you pick up a lot of LE damage here, life, crit multi, spell damage, and then you pick up more life here. And then after that, it's like, you kind of just prioritize whatever you think you need. So I would recommend picking up a bunch of life nodes first while you're leveling, and then you start picking up damage. Don't worry about going crit until later on. Just pick up base damage and then pick up crit stuff later on. I think I went this way first. Pick up the cooldown recovery and then all the trap damage wheel, and more life. Then I went all the way down here to pick up Master Sapper. This gives you frenzy charges when your traps are triggered and 2 additional traps and a ton of damage, trap throwing speed. And then frenzy charges and power charges we get on throw, because we have nodes like this one gives you power charges when your trap is triggered. So we have power charge generation, we have frenzy charge generation. I pick up a bunch of both on the tree, specifically because of that. It gives us a lot of crit and a lot of overall damage, attack and cast speed. It's just great. And once you have all the life nodes, you just start picking up damage nodes. You pick up all your spell crit, crit multi, your crit multi here, lightning crit multi stuff, crit multi over here. You just pick up a lot of crit multi, right? The skill trees and whatnot, there'll be a path to building basement link in the description below this video if you just want to look at it all real quick. Jewels, you want jewels that have life, and you want jewels with damage. So you're gonna want things that scale this, because of lightning trap is projectile, trap, spell, lightning. So spell damage works, trap damage works, projectile damage works, lightning damage works, crit multi works, spell damage while holding a shield works. Like there's a ton of options, right? So this one's life, crit multi. My jewels are actually not that good. They could be a lot better. This one's life, spell damage. This one is life, crit multi, proj damage. This is actually really good. This is perfect. This is what you want to look for. Something like that. That's like a perfect 4 prop. This one we have crit multi, life. This one is life, crit multi again. So you basically just, you see what I'm going for, right? Spell damage, life. Attack speed is actually really nice as well, since we use our shield charge as our main movement skill. Helps you get around the map faster. But you can get a lot more damage out of your jewels. As for the gear and links and whatnot. So, I'm using one unique Tinkerskin. This is usually like a chaos or less, because it's pretty unpopular, but it gives you life, energy shield, evasion, a huge amount of cooldown recovery speed for traps, which is great. And then you get more frenzy charge generation, phasing on kill, or phasing when your traps are triggered, recover life when your trap is triggered, recover ES while your trap is triggered. So as a trapper, you don't really have any form of leech. This is like your way to get passive healing, which is pretty nice. You don't have to use your life pot constantly because you're just healing. Every time I throw traps, I'm throwing 4 at a time, so that's 400 life every time they trigger. And that's pretty good. If you also want to do something really weird, you can pick up Eldritch Battery here, and that'll put your energy shield over your mana, and you can spend the energy shield instead of mana, right? So if you have that and you're getting 50 energy shield when your traps are triggered, you'll get your mana back every time you throw a trap, because you're gonna throw 4 traps, get 200 ES back, which is 200 mana, and you just basically have infinite mana at that point. I have not done that yet, but it's an option. It's pretty cool. Everything else is just rares, right? So you just get as much damage and life as you can, right? So for gloves, I went for life resist. For belt, life resist, movement speed. Boots, life, movement speed, resist, a little bit of int. Enchantment wise on boots, the 1 to 160 lightning damage if you haven't killed recently is the most damage for me. It's just a huge amount of flat, and lightning trap has pretty high flat damage scaling. It's 90% effectiveness of added damage, which is pretty high. Glove enchant, I have the Commandment of Winter when hit. You could also go for Commandment of, what's it called? The one that makes a copy of yourself as like a decoy. That's pretty good. Winter is a projectile crit spell thing, and it freezes things every time it crits them, obviously, so it's like, it hurts a lot. It's got pretty high crit, extremely high multi, so like, something hits me, it fires a projectile at them, they get hit a bunch of times and get frozen each time. It's pretty cool. And then Helm enchant, I went for the lightning trap cooldown recovery speed, because even more recovery speed, so we can spam traps even faster. And then the rest of your damage stuff will come from mainly your weapon and shield and necklace. So for amulet, you can get crit multi spell damage, which is a huge amount of damage for us, mostly the crit multi. And then you can pick up life resist, stats, whatever else you need. Rings, you're gonna want life resist stats. Life resist stats. When it comes to your weapon, I recommend a dagger or a scepter. Scepter will probably give you more overall damage. You could go for like a increased elemental damage implicit or elemental penetration implicit on like a what are those scepters called? Abyssal? I don't know. They have 6% penetration implicit. But you're gonna want spell damage. You're gonna want added damage to spells, preferably lightning damage or cold damage. Either is fine. You can also go for the crit with spells and crit multi, and then I have a bit of attack speed on this as well. This dagger is actually really good, but there you can get a lot better. Shield, you want spell damage, you want crit multi, you want life, and you want resist. As much of all of those things as you can get. You can also get some block chance on your shield, that's always helpful, but not super important. And then as for flasks, you're using one unique flask, Wise Oak, for the elemental penetration, which means you're going to want to have your lightning resistance be the highest so that you can gain the lightning penetration whenever you use this. where's my lightning trap? Here. So when I use my, why is it okay? It goes to 77% elemental, or lightning penetration, sorry. And then your lowest resistance takes 10% less damage. So if I have the lowest being fire resistance and I have this on, I take 10% less fire damage taken, which is pretty good. If you balance all three of your elements exactly the same, you will take 10% reduced damage from all three elements, and you'll gain 20% LE penetration for all three elements. But since I'm mostly pure lightning, I am pure lightning damage, I don't really worry about that as much. And then the other flasks, I have a life instant bleed, remove freeze diamond, quicksilver with duration movement speed, and then I have a curse immune mana flask. This is pretty important so you don't get silenced, you can throw traps, but it also means you don't have to worry about things like vulnerability, projectile weakness, temp chains, whatever. And for boss fights, you're going to probably need this if your Vault Clarity runs out, which, I mean, it lasts 17 seconds, so probably not, but if it runs out, you have this to back you up afterwards. So, skill links. In order of priority for your lightning trap, you want cluster traps, you want trap and mine damage, and you want increased crits. After that, you use lightning pen and pierce. Pierce is what allows us to pierce targets, obviously. So you don't need many pierces. A couple pierces is generally all you need. But pierce gives us 4 targets pierced so that we can pierce through the entire pack and delete it all at once, basically. Other links, movement skill, you have your shield charge, fortify faster attacks. Fortify is 20% less damage taken from hits, so you just have a huge amount of defensive layering because of it. And then other links, we have casting damage taken, GMP Arctic Breath. This throws an AoE chill everywhere, so they just are slower when it comes to hitting you. Then I have Immortal Call in there as well to give us some Fizz mitigation, immunity to Fizz damage for like a little bit of a second. And then other links, we have our aura setup. Wrath gives you more spell lightning damage, which is great for us. And then we have Blasphemy and Enfeeble. So this you can use a conductivity spell as well if you want here, or Temp Chains. It's kind of a preference thing. I like Enfeeble because it means they just overall deal way less damage, have a harder chance of hitting me, and they crit for less damage, which is great. And then I have an Enlighten level 4, so we have more mana overall. You don't need the Enlighten. You can throw 2 traps without it, but I'd recommend getting at least a level 3 Enlighten so you can have a little bit bigger mana pool to throw out more traps. And then other links, we have a Vault Clarity, increased duration, and then we have a cast damage taken high level with an Ice Golem high level. Ice Golem gives us crit chance, which is pretty huge. But if you don't want that, you could go for a Flame Golem for the generic damage. You could go for a Lightning Golem for the more attack and cast speed for your shield charge. Totally up to you. You could also use a Chaos Golem for Fizz mitigation. I prefer the crit. And then we have another little bit of whatever you want set up here. I have a Flame Dash for getting up and down ledges, faster casting, and a Portal, just so that our Portal is faster. That setup's basically up to you. You can do whatever you want there. Is there anything else we need to talk about? I don't know. Shaper items that are good for this type of build. Let's see. Let me think offhand. I don't think there's that many things that are super important, but you're probably going to want to use a Stygian belt here so that you can use jewels that have flat lightning to spells and flat life as your implicit. I don't have one of those yet, but I will get one eventually for this character. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty straightforward character. It's just pretty easy to go. I leveled this character as Lightning Trapper, and I've just been having a blast with it. It's a really good build. But again, the path to building Paste Bin will be linked in the description below the video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, share it with your friends so they can make the same character. Yeah, good luck out there in Abyss League. Happy New Year, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. That'll be Demi out.